Mr. Brown with you again. So for this video, we'll be looking at a simple-ish topic, which is bearings. So bearings is basically the direction or the coordinate movement or the angular movement from one point to another point. Now, when you're writing bearings, you generally write it with 3 digits. So if it's a case that it's less than 100, you generally put a 0 at the front of it. So if it's a 30 degree, you put 030 in order to write it, because it generally writes with 3 digits. Now, once you remember that it's writing or calculating bearings, it's from the north line to the point of the line that would connect you from your starting to your finishing point, basically. So for example, in this case, if you are starting at R and you're going to P, you draw a north line at letter R. So like in this case with the vertical, you draw a north line, and then you move from that north line, come all the way around to this line that will have connected P to R in order for you to calculate or gain the bearings. And you read bearings clockwise, not anti-clockwise or counterclockwise. You always read it clockwise. Now, in this particular question, it says that P, Q, and R are stationed such that Q from R is 116 degrees and the bearing of P from R is 242 degrees. The vertical line at R shows the north line direction. So now, in order for you to understand bearings, you must know that the place or the letter that generally comes after the word from is where you're starting. So in this case, it's saying that Q from R is 116. It means that you're starting at point R and you're moving to point Q. And the value for that angular turn or angular movement would be 116 degrees. And therefore, it means that if you should be reading a question and it says that a ship moves to angle Q from R, it naturally starting at R again, or if it just says you move to angle Q, it generally will give you a starting point, because to somewhere means that's where you're going to end up. So always go to the letter or the place after the word from in order to start. So in this case, it gives you this information, and then the first question asks, show that PRQ is equal to 126 degrees. First thing you must ask yourself, where is PRQ? So PRQ means that once you see 3 letters and you are dealing with angles, it means you are trying to find the value of the angle that is between them. So it's trying to find the angle of R that is merged or created by the line P and the line Q. So the line Q coming to R would be this one, and the line P going to R would be this one. So it's asking you, these 2 lines, where do they merge? What is the angle for here? So it's telling you in this particular question that it's equal to 126, but they are also asking you to prove it or to show how did they arrive at this being 126 degrees. And for you to do that, you must be able to show working. So now, based on the question that they gave you, they are telling you that moving from angle R straight to angle P. So they're saying that moving from this north line here all the way around to this line. So let me see if I can use my black marker. So it's saying moving from that point, come all the way around, all this way. From this, it's telling you that that's all 242 degrees. And then it's telling you that from just R to this line here is 116. So proving it that is equal to 126, you will say something like, you can write P from R, so P from R is equal R is equal to 242, and Q from R is equal to 116. Therefore, PRQ is equal to all of this angle, which is 242 minus this little outer piece. So the reason, if all of the distance that you traveled is 242 degrees, and then a small portion is 240 is 116, what's the other part of the journey? So let's extend it here. So they're telling you from this point to this point is all of that must be 242 degrees in journey. Then they're telling you that, look, if I start at this point here and I traveled here, this little piece would be 116 degrees. So what is the rest of from here to here? And it's basically that this question is asking you. So you get the entire journey, you get a little piece, and they're asking you for the rest of the journey. So you simply subtract them. So 242 minus 116. You can set it out and you would get 126 degrees. So we can set it out way down here. So it will be 242 minus 116. 6 out of 2 can't be done, so you borrow. So 12 minus 6 is 6. 3 minus 1 is 2. 2 minus 1 is 1. And you get the 126 degrees. And that would prove that that is what the answer is. Now this second part says, given that PR is equal to 38 meters. So you find PR, so it's saying from here to here, now is 38 meters. Then it's saying QR, so that's from Q to R, is 102 meters. Calculate PQ, so PQ is this line. So they are now asking what's the length of that line. Now to calculate the length of a line using bearings, you can use trigonometry, you can use sine rule, cosine rule, depending on what the question is asking you and how it's structured and where the numbers or the values are given. Now in this particular case, the fact that you have two sides and an angle here, which we consider it as being an enclosed angle, it means you have to use the cosine rule. Because the cosine rule deals with two sides and an enclosed angle, or you are given three sides and you need an angle. Because naturally, once you have three sides, it means that all the angles will be enclosed. So you can just simply manipulate the formula to get that value. So in this case, it's saying that the PR, which is a letter that you don't decide, you don't know. So PQ, is all squared is equal to the square of the other two sides. So it will be 38 squared plus the 102 squared minus the product of the other two sides times 2. So it will be 2 times the 38 times the 102. So it's the two sides being squared first and added, minus the product of the two sides times 2 multiplied also by cos of whatever angle you have, and that is being enclosed. So in this case it's 126, sorry. So you work that part. So you can, depending on the type of calculator you have, you can just put all of it in and you get the answer. But if you don't have a calculator that can put all of it in, you can work them piece by piece. So I'm going to work these two together. So 38 squared plus 102 squared would give us 11,848 minus, so 2 times 38 times 102 times cos 126, that would be equal to negative 4,556.5. So I rounded it off to one decimal place. Now you realize that here it's double negative. So you put off this, so I placed the negative sign here first, or the subtraction sign first, and then I worked all of this, and it gave me negative 4,556. So you have to put back the negative sign because it's a part of your answer. Now when you have two negatives beside each other, it automatically means that you should add the terms that you are given. So it's 11,848 plus 4,556 4.5, and that would give you 16,404.5. Now when you get here, because you want just what PQ is, and this is saying that the square of PQ is equal to this, all you need to do is to find the square root of both sides. So PQ, you find the square root of that, and that you find the square root also of the 16,404.5. So square root, and you get 128.1, and you put on your units. So that's an essence of what bearings entails, all about putting on the values correctly. And depending on how the questions are worded, your shape will be a little bit different, and you might have to put the values at different places. But you must always read the question, see which line or which distance they are giving to you. You also will have to read it to see what is the angular bearing and where should you start, because once the letter or the location comes after the word from, you must start there. So where are you leaving from? Where and where will you end up to? So that will help you. So naturally, if you're at home and you're going to leave, your parents will ask you, or rather, you're coming home, your parents ask you, where are you coming from? So it means that where is your starting point that you would have left from to reach at this particular point. So that's the essence. So I hope this video would have helped in explaining a little bit more about what bearings will entail, and tune in again with Mr. Brown when I'll explain other mathematical concepts.